let's take this subject of the ball in the hole. So it's an end result, the ball in the hole. It seems that the ball in the hole is what you're looking for, but it's what it represents that matters more, yes? Let's say someone who doesn't understand golf, doesn't follow golf, hasn't even witnessed golf, just shows up and sees the ball in the hole. And there's jubilation, the Goodyear blimp is flying over. Everyone's in celebration around it, and he's looking. He knows it means something, but it's really hard to figure out what that could possibly mean. It represents so much more than just the end result. And everything is that way, isn't it? And so everything that you want is because you think you will feel better in the experience of it. And maybe it works just to focus upon the words. We've been focused upon only words. Esther was talking in the dressing room about how few words we were offering, how simple few words were actually changing the energy. And then Esther said, but one thing I've noticed about Abraham, when Abraham says an emotional word like love, they mean love. When Abraham says ease, they mean ease. In other words, that's the thing that you have to get to. You have to get to the word, but you have to stay there long enough that you mean it. So when you're talking about financial abundance, what are the emotional words? Some would say freedom. But freedom is sort of tricky because it's freedom from bondage. It's freedom from stuff I don't want to do. So it's usually sort of a scattered vibration. What's the emotion?
Ease. Ease is part of it. It's probably the same that applies to every category. Ease.
But there's something unique about a specific subject and the way the emotion around it feels. So it's really worth focusing around that idea and feeling. You sort of have to feel your way there. What's that feeling? And sometimes the way you can find it is by focusing upon the tension of financial struggle and then just feeling that not sort of dissipate as you just feel what it would feel like to not feel that. Just ease and freedom and fun of choices, fun of selection, fun of options, ease of options. We offered in the early days of talking about processes, a wallet process where we encouraged you to somehow find $100 and put it in your wallet or your pocket or your purse, and don't spend it, but spend it mentally. And some said, well, do I really have to put it there? And we said, well, it's helpful to have it there. And some said, well, I don't have $100 to put there. And we said, well, then you're not ready for this game. But put $100 in your pocket and then move through the day and say to yourself, I could buy that. I could buy that. If I wanted to, I could buy that. I could buy that. I could buy one of those shoes. I could buy that, I could buy that, I could buy that, I could buy that. And you just can't walk around noticing how many things, if you wanted to, you could, 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 without shoring up that emotion around the feeling of money. You're just going to start feeling more abundance. You're going to start feeling more freedom. I have the freedom if I wanted to do that. I have the freedom if I wanted to do that. Just anything that you can do to give yourself that feeling. And then here's the most important thing. Don't try to fill the grid in yourself. Because it's that attempt at something that doesn't work that messes up the vibration of the grid. Your grid is present tense. How do you feel about this grid? Is it making sense to you? You get it? So it's logical that what you had going on yesterday, grid-wise, is likely what you're going to have going on today, grid-wise, just because it's easier to just keep doing what you've been doing. But when you become aware that the grid that you've got going might not be serving you very well because it's a grid that is laced with negative emotion rather than positive emotion, so you make the determination that you're going to try to find more positive feelings to begin a new grid, begin a new grid. Let's put it that way. Rather than trying to morph your grid forward and change the grimy grid to something clearer, let's start a new grid now, start a new grid now, start a new grid now, start a new grid now. And if you realize that all of your power is in the now, because all of your rendezvous point is in the now. All of your grid filling in power is in the now. So if you've got this grid going on, and it's been going on for a while, it's logical that the better it gets, the better it gets. And your grid is going to become more and more specific as more and more fills in with it. Does that make sense to you? But there's real power for you. It's a real turning point for you if you will acknowledge that you're starting a new grid now. And the question that you might want to ask yourself is, am I just carrying over the old one? Well, it is likely that you are. And sometimes it's okay if you got a really good one going. But if you don't, then you want to start a new one, and you want to start it now. And the more general you get in the process, the better. So how did that feel? Did you like the idea of just finding the feeling of freedom and the feeling of well-being? Can you feel how that's a good emotional grid? And then didn't it fill in even more with that analogy that we gave you, a process, a wallop process of something to do? Didn't it even make more sense to you? Well, that's the grid filling in. If finances are something that are important to you, as you've been listening and feeling with us, you've already reestablished a new grid now. Your point of attraction relative to finances has changed just as a result of this conversation. So now you have three options. You can keep it going, which is the easiest thing to do because momentum and inertia is always easier. Or you can not keep it going and just continue on with whatever you've had going on. Or you can not keep it going, but get it going again. And not keep it going and get it going again. And that's really what's most practical for most of you. Just keep going after it again. Just keep saying, oh, new moment, how do I feel? Let's get a new grid going. Now here's another process that we offered for this very thing many, many years ago that fits right into this grid. You're going to discover that everything that we've ever said to you ever fits right into this grid analogy. Because when things are central to the basic laws of the universe, they always fit. It was a process called segment intending. And the segment intending process says, oh, here's a new segment. What are my intentions for this segment? When you walk into a new space, it's a new segment. When you pick up the telephone to call someone, it's a new segment. When someone calls you, it's a new segment. When one new person walks into this room, it changes the segment for all of us. Segment intending. And at the basis of segment intending is, what do I want in this segment and why do I want it? How do I want to feel in this segment? So you get in your car and you think, time for a grid. How do I feel in my car? Comfortable, appreciative for this transportation, happy that I'm getting to go someplace. Just stay there for 17 seconds and feel appreciation for your car. Let the engine sort of catch its breath a little bit. Get yourself settled into your seat. Look in your rearview mirror and acknowledge everything that is around you. Just breathe a little bit and feel happy to be here in this moment, eager to be going somewhere. Just establish that grid. And watch what happens. Sit there for 68 seconds and you can control traffic. If you think about how you love to be in your car and how it represents freedom to you and how fun it is to get to move about and how many things there are to see around and what a beautiful, delicious world you live in and how delightful it is to have mobility in this world, how nice it is to have the comfort of a car like this. You spend 68 seconds focused like that and you move out into the world, your grid will fill in with cooperative drivers, with others who are smiling. They'll wave you in. Your timing at the lights, in the same way that you can't really understand wind currents, you don't really understand the timing of those lights either at a conscious level. But as your grid fills in, your impulse of where to go, which street to go down, where to pause, what to do, you will be guided. Your grid will fill in with reactions, with impulses, with responses, with rendezvous, and you'll have really good days. You'll find parking places. Barbara has been talking to Esther about princess parking, because Esther always has a parking place right up front. It's just always there. It's just always there. It's as if everyone has run ahead and just cleared the space for her. It's just always there. Always there. Not just sort of there, right there. The very best parking place in the whole possible place to be is right there waiting for Esther. Often someone backs out of it right as she arrives, or it's just sitting there open. Esther can't believe it. There are people parking all around. What is going on? There's that place. Your grid is filling in. How you doing? How you doing? You happy with how it's filling in? People nice to you? Things working out? Money flowing easily? How's it filling in? You want to tweak it a little? Start a new grid right now. Start a new grid right now. Start a new grid right now. The momentum and law of attraction will take you to specific. And after you get the hang of this, then even in what feels like the grid, the general grid, you'll be in such a good feeling place that you'll be much more specific than general, but it will be general for you. You see what we're getting at?
Wow.
The rule of thumb is, be as specific as you can be and still feel good. How powerful you are and how powerful this moment is.
Yes.
And what your potential for rendezvousing is right here
Yes.
and now. It's interesting because as we talked to you all about deliberate creation, first we said focus. We said you create your own reality and you get what you think about. So pay attention to what you're thinking about. And that went along all right with you, but then you started worrying about what you were thinking about. And then we started putting emphasis on allowing. In other words, you ask, step 1, the universe supplies, step 2, and you have to line up with it, step 3. And now we're even more specifically helping you to understand this process by letting you know, yes, you do create your own reality. And people will say, well, Abraham, we're not sure what you really think we should be doing. Should we be focusing? Should we be meditating? Should we be asking? Should we be allowing? And we say, you've done enough asking really to keep yourselves busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. You've been mixing it up. You have a vortex full of all kinds of things that you want, and your inner being has already become the vibrational equivalent of all of those things. So your work really is to relax and allow yourself to be in the vibrational vicinity. This grid conversation, here we are in this place, we've come round again with more specifics to help you to understand that your point of attraction, your point of power is right here and right now. It was one of two things that Seth said. Seth was speaking through Jane Roberts, and Jerry had been reading those books before that Jerry and Esther met us. And Seth said, you create your own reality, and that rang Jerry's bells so strongly. He loved the idea of it. He just could not imagine how that could possibly be so, because there were so many people living what they did not want to live, who he could not understand. If they create their own reality, why are they doing that to themselves? And so we've spent all of these years saying that you get what you think about. You don't get what you want. You get what you think about. When you think about what you want, you get it. When you think about the absence of what you want, you get the absence of what you want. You get what you think about. You create your own reality through your focus, you see. And then Seth said, your point of power is in the present. That made Jerry crazy with excitement. He loved feeling the control of now, but what could that possibly mean? Does that mean I stand in my now and I just focus very deliberately? Focus, carry a notebook around, Your point of power is in the present. So we've spent years explaining to you that you were source energy, that you come partly into this body, that here in this leading edge body you explore and you ask, and then you come into alignment with what you're asking for. But now we're wanting you to understand that you have always been this source energy that is always focused forward with you. In other words, when we talk about the power of now, when we talk about your powerful now, we're not just talking about the personality that you know as you and what you're doing as you're focused in this moment. We're talking about all that you are that is focused in this moment. We're all focused in your powerful now. We're here with you while you're having this conversation. And if you are present in your now, which means releasing the resistance that keeps you from being fully aware and therefore allowing of all that we are, then the influence of that which is us, the knowledge of that which is us, the well-being of that which is us, the clarity of that which is us, is all now you as well. We are all in this together. Do you see how we all fit together?